good. There we go. Excellent.
The thought of actually organising a public demonstration of any type is far removed from anything I've ever contemplated. It's just not me. We need to stand up and try to motivate people who ordinarily wouldn't be motivated. Those quiet people who sit by are concerned and do nothing.
Semi-retired lawyer and swinging voter Rod Kunick and his GP wife Margot have organised a gathering today outside their federal MP's office in Sydney's eastern suburbs.
Emission reduction, not deception.
And lead.
Don't lag.
So which would you like?
Yeah.
I'm excited, actually. I'm really excited. I have no idea whether we're going to just have a handful of people or lots of people.
I hope it's going to bring people like us, what we call the quiet Australians, out to ask their local members, like we're asking Dave Sharma, to actually really stand up and advocate for us for proper climate policy.
What spurred the couple into action was the horrific bushfires this summer.
We had a family holiday down the south coast before Christmas, and we spent the whole time, 10 days, being locked inside because of smoke, and then the whole episode of our PM being overseas and then coming back and downplaying the role of climate change in the fires.
They took to social media and placed an ad in the local newspaper, seeking others to take part in an alternative to the mass protests.
I look at the protests and think, look, they're young activists or old activists who are protesters that can be easily dismissed because they're just the rat bags doing their thing, we can ignore them. And I think I've been guilty of that. We wanted to distinguish ourselves from those groups and say, look, we're just ordinary Australians. We're not radical. But our votes count.
What do we want? Climate action! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Climate action! When do we want it? Now!
The growing concern within the Kunick family is part of a growing trend across the nation.
We saw a big increase in concern when we ran the January survey, and the survey was run just after the bushfires.
Monthly surveys carried out by market research group Ipsos reveal a jump in the number of Australians worried about environment. In January, at 41%, it's the leading concern for the first time, ahead of issues such as healthcare and the cost of living. In May last year, it ranked as the 7th most pressing concern. In 2015, it was 13th.
It's not people who we used to see as worried about this issue. Older Australians, the boomer cohort, are becoming more concerned, but in a broad sense, everyone's a bit more concerned.
I
think it's important that everyone joins the fight. If you understand how serious the situation is, I don't understand how you could not do anything, how you could not want to limit warming as much as possible.
Mum, where's your orange?
Oh no, you're not hiding the orange too, are you?
Yes, I am.
Erin Remblitz admits that just 2 years ago she knew nothing about climate change.
I wouldn't have even described myself as being an environmentalist or green. I just lived a regular kind of everyday life, kind of unaware of what was going on around me. I'd never been to a protest. That wasn't my style at all.
The mother of 3 has become a student of the topic.
I assumed it was being looked after. I wrongly assumed that the governments would look after us and do the things that were right. And now I've become aware that actually that's not happening, and there needs to be more leadership on this issue.
Erin's children are 6, 4 and 16 months. She says their future is the ultimate motivation to join the fight.
Can I get the vanilla malts?
I have written to Scott Morrison, I have written to Zali Steggall, I have written to, my local MPs, and it's that kind of, balancing between actually being here with my children and fighting for my children's futures.
Australia is doing its share. We are meeting our targets and we are going to beat them, and we will continue to do that out to 2030.
One of the points of these protesters seems to be that Australia isn't doing anything when it comes to reducing emissions. Well, that's just not true. Australia has the deepest cuts to emissions per capita under the Paris Climate Agreement, which is the government's policy.
Back at Edgecliff, more than 200 people have turned up.
People are just coming up and saying, look, thank you for organising it. Never been to something like this before, and it's time we had a way of speaking up.
I'm not a protester by nature, but I'm sick and tired of the Liberals' lack of policy on climate change, or they say they have policies, but actually the data speaks otherwise, and we really need to be taking proper action, real action.
So this is a first for you, getting out on the streets?
It's a first for me holding up a placard, that's for sure.
So I saw the note going out about quiet Australians, and it's time that we all get there. There's no excuse for not showing up. If you're quiet, if you're introvert like me, we should all be doing something.
Federal MP for Wentworth Dave Sharma declined 7:30's request for an interview.
Get on the outside?
Yeah, on the outside, so it faces out.
Okay.
Rod and Margot are planning monthly quiet protests and are urging others across the country to follow their example.
It's non-partisan. We don't care who the politician is. Every single politician, in our view, should be taking climate change seriously and doing something about it.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.